Hello, friends, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Dark Orb, our little community corner of the internet where we talk about role-playing games, tabletop games, and how spectacularly bad we can get at playing them. My name's Phil, and we're going to do our 2023 New Year's resolutions, maybe a few days late, but we try and do this every year. And I'm joined by my good friend and role-playing buddy from all the way up north, Mr. Bruce. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
All right, not too bad. I suppose we should always argue when you look at road signs, we're actually beyond north. We're in Scotland because you get the road
True.
sign, the north, and
The
then
north.
Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm up north now because, for anyone who doesn't know, we moved from down south to the Midlands, and that was one reason among many why perhaps this previous year, 2022's gaming didn't quite go as planned. We'll get into that in a bit. Bruce, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm just a regular gamer. I'm not a backer. I'm probably a foolish person with a wallet in Kickstarters because I'll keep watching this.
Oh, we've lost some audio. We have lost Bruce's audio. Either that or my audio's died. One or the other. Our lovely viewers, who can you hear? Can you hear me or can you hear Bruce? Hey, so it sounds like we've lost Bruce because there is no audio in the frozen north of Scotland. We'll, um, Bruce will no doubt disconnect and reconnect. I can tell you a bit about me though, if you're new to the show. So we've been going for 2 or 3 years right now, and yeah, we've done pretty well. We doubled our subscribership in last year. Thank you very much to everyone who helped us to increase that count. Bruce, I suggest you hit F5 and reload the page and see if that does anything. We're going to be talking about our New Year's resolutions in just a moment. Let's have a look here. Add an overlay there whilst we wait for Bruce to join us again. But maybe I should start then with talking about what I failed to achieve last year. Are we back yet?
Can you hear me now?
Ah,
Yes. Yes.
there we are.
Apparently,
Welcome back.
when you switched me on, my headset decided, oh, I'll just mute you without telling you. Thank you,
Lovely.
headset. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is how 2023 has started out. We've really struggled with scheduling already. Um, you were telling us about who Bruce is.
Yes. So, based up in Edinburgh. So we are just a punter, gamer. I don't do content or anything. You'll see me around the Edinburgh scene, gaming scene. And as I said, I was trying to say, I keep.
We've lost you again, Bruce.
There we go. I think I
There
was
you are.
trying to do it again. I don't know why. It keeps wanting to mute me. Obviously, it doesn't like telling me things in Scotland, so very bizarre.
Speech detection is not picking up your English.
When are they ever going to design something in Scottish? I don't know.
You were saying. Don't make me laugh.
So yes, we're up in Edinburgh. I'm watching a lot of shows. I'm just mostly a fan of the show and just watching it, and a patron, and on the Discord as well. So
Very valuable member of the community, and I really appreciate everything that you bring to the Dark Orb. As for me, I've been role playing. Well, I started role playing in my mid-teens, took a bit of a hiatus, got back into it about 7 or 8 years ago, I guess. And yeah, we started the show at the beginning of lockdown. So it's been fun. We've had a lot of fun. We should have a look at what we achieved last. But before we do that, I'm really pleased to say we have one more guest who has just managed to slide in at the last minute. And welcome to the show, Mr. Paul Gatt.
Evening, can you hear me?
Yeah, results.
Wonderful. Sorry, a little bit of tech issues there, otherwise I'd have been here on time. But yeah, evening
Really
all.
issues live. Hopefully they'll not continue. Paul, for anyone who's not seen us before, do you want to just give a little bit of an explanation about who you is?
Yeah, my name is Paul Catt. Run a very successful Kickstarter, which is how I met Phil. Yeah, it's Weird Space is the tabletop roleplay game. I'm sure there'll be a link on here somewhere. And I'm also working on a vampire game at the moment about them taking the mickey, called Mistakes.
So yeah, 2023 New Year resolutions, and we should probably start by thinking about everything that we tried to promise ourselves that we would achieve last year. For anyone who has not seen the show before, last year we did a New Year resolutions with different guests. I don't think even Bruce, you were able to join us last time. And we're using some of the same questions this year. The first of those questions is, which game on your shelf are you committing to run role-playing game this year? And I could tell you straight away that the games that I said I was definitely going to run and almost definitely going to get onto the channel, onto the Dark Orb as well, were Electric Bastion Lands, the Genesis, Broken Compass, and View Scream. Now, Broken Compass was a bit of a stretch goal. I didn't commit to that. In fact, Broken Compass hadn't arrived yet, so it was really the other three: Genesis, Electric Bastion Lands, and View Scream. Electric Bastion Lands, I was 100% certain I would get that to the table, and I'd stream it as well. It's a really cool game, really cool system, very straightforward, very simple, easy to write for. Character generation is really hilarious. I thought it was absolutely going to happen. Didn't. The Genesis, I bought everything to Genesis. It's on the shelf. You can't quite see it. If I do that, basically from here on the screen all the way to about here is the Genesis stuff. And I said, well, that should be straightforward. It was currently all in storage because we were about to move house, and we expected to move house in January or February of last year. And then I was going to sit down and read a bit, and then at least have a couple of Genesis one shots. Didn't move house actually until July, and it was just a nightmare. But we ended up in Nottingham in the Midlands, which is amazing. So not the original plan, but definitely cool. Then what else do we have? View Scream. Actually, View Scream we ran, and that was a lot of fun. I'm biased because I GM'd it, but that's actually on our YouTube channel. Please, if you haven't seen it, if you like science fiction horror, then it's worth checking out. It was really great. I definitely want to do more of it. Should I commit to that as a resolution? Maybe. We'll talk about that later. And then I'll talk about Broken Compass in a bit. Did either of you have any games? Paul, did you have any games that you said you were going to try and run last year?
Honestly, it's just going to be play testing the new version of Weird Space, really.
Did you manage to do that?
It's still in the writing phase, but yes, it's going to be with the source book I'm going to be bringing to Kickstarter soon. You've probably already seen the teaser for it. I've come up with a bunch of different characters, getting them all drawn up, getting them 3D modeled as well, so they could be as actual miniatures as well as. One of those, I said I was going to get to the table and have the players interact with, and they soundly ignored him.
Nice.
was a cute little fuzzy thing, and that's the thing the pack bonded with. But yeah, that was what I was going to try and get done last year, and yeah, I think the new planets I'm going to be bringing out do actually work.
Awesome. That sounds exciting. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Bruce, what about yourself, sir? Did you have any games that you were going to definitely planning on playing?
I did want to actually, and I did achieve it, was the Ghostbusters RPG.
Ghostbusters
And
RPG.
that was both face-to-face at a couple of conventions and an actual play here. So unsurprisingly, I'll be doing some more Ghostbusters adventures, which I've actually written. Scary. I'm actually scared I've written stuff for it.
It's very cool.
As well. Not one,
so that's
but two.
That's Ghostbusters, the role-playing game by, is that West End Games, isn't it?
West End Games, the 1980s, yes. Yes. There are many we filed the IP off variants out there.
So if you are interested in Ghostbusters, the role-playing game, we're very grateful for Orbtoberfest, which is our annual kind of mostly horror, but not specifically horror, role-playing game kind of mini convention that we've done online for the last couple of years. Originally it was called Shocktoberfest, and this year it was called Orbtoberfest. Bruce very kindly ran an actual play one shot of that, and that's available on our YouTube. It might still be available on Twitch as well. Definitely worth going and have a look. It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. I was very lucky to be one of the players, and that was great. I really liked that a lot. Yeah, so did you have any things that you planned on running or playing and failed to get to the table?
Yeah, I'd say Twilight 2000 because I got that.
Yeah, I actually didn't back that in the end, or rather I backed it, and then I realized that just purely because I don't personally have a huge love of kind of military combat games, so I kind of pulled back on that. And obviously now, sadly, it doesn't feel appropriate to really play that game as written. So hopefully there'll be some expansions that will come out that will make it a little bit more palatable in the short term. But it's a really tricky license right now. Cool. Well, let's move on to some Dark Orb actual play resolutions. Now, I'm going to make some commitments here, and I'm not going to force either of you to make any commitments, but you obviously can if you like. If you want to, then just put your hand up and say. Otherwise, I will go ahead and make some pledges for myself. So my feeling is that this past year has not been great in terms of actual plays for the channel. We've done some really good ones, but the quantity has not been there, and that is mostly, I would say, down to us moving house and things like that. So these things happen. This year, I want to make a change on that, so I've actually committed to far fewer games, and I'm kind of turning down a few things, kind of personal, private games, so that I can try and focus a little bit more on the Dark Orb, which I'm very excited about. Jay said the Genesis. That's certainly on my radar. And it's certainly something that might happen. I need to actually do some reading on that. But there are other things as well that I'm thinking about. So Trophy finally arrived. It was only 18 months late. It's Trophy RPG. So either Trophy Dark and or Trophy Gold. What else? There were a couple of other things. Trying to recall. Oh yeah, so Fearsome Wilderness, that arrived from Geektopia Games. That's a Year Zero engine dark forest fantasy game, so that could be fun for maybe a one shot or a couple of sessions. The Genesis, as you said, that's another one. And we've got things like Shadow of the Demon Lord and that sort of stuff. We also do have games that we want to try and get to the table that I won't necessarily be running. But things like Call of Cthulhu, which we've been kind of teasing at for a while, there have been a few hiccups with just real life that have prevented that from coming to the table. But we're hopeful that we're going to have some Call of Cthulhu content this year, which will be great. And maybe just maybe, there's a slim chance that we might be bringing back the mutant game a mutant game. We started playing Mutant a couple of years ago, and we had to abandon that game. So that content's not currently available on the channel, but we'd love to bring that back. Kind of old mutant published scenarios. In fact, Kjetil, who is commenting on the screen over there, GM'd that for us. So I'm not committing that as a resolution on your part, sir. But certainly it would be exciting if that came to the channel, wouldn't it? Shall we move on to the next topic? What do we have? What RPGs have you got on your shelf that you really want to either run or play this year? Bruce?
Oh, so I've got two I'm thinking of just at the moment. One is, and I got it for Christmas, because I was looking at, I've got these Osprey Games ones, is Grand Mechanism, which is a Clockwork Punk.
Let's see if I can make that.
Make
bigger.
me, and I have to
Even bigger
type
than you.
myself.
Okay.
So it's like
In Florence. Oh wow, that's really
yes.
interesting.
So basically, all the things like Leo da Vinci's kites areas is real, and there is this giant clockwork mechanism
Mm.
in Florence, and it's basically a clockwork computer. But they, I can hear it telling me mute on. It's obviously doesn't like me. It's a female voice as well telling me, no, I'm going to mute you now because you're talking. I think this is going to go on all through the show. But I quite like the idea of it. It is because we've seen things like Desanction with the Elizabethan spies.
Yeah.
We're seeing a few other slightly variants. You talked about Call of Cthulhu, and they did a sort of Jane Austen Regency. I'm trying to flip that. I mean, personally, that's not.
Oh, it's gone again.
We are seeing more and more stuff onto that. So yeah, that's one thing. And the other is the Terminator RPG that I got last year, and I would like to try and get the campaign because I've been reading that, and it's not too bad as I thought it would be for a game.
Got this
try and see if we can get that.
solidarity, even though the author is not Scottish.
No. Well, yeah, it's basically how many Terminators? Just divide it by 1,000, and that'll be enough.
So that's the one by Nightfall Games, right?
Yes, and they've also picked up on behalf of Mantic Hellboy as well, RPG.
Oh yes, absolutely. And Broken Compass.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah, Broken Compass was a game that I was looking forward to playing. Actually, I forgot to say this or didn't come back to it, which I did actually manage to play last year, although we didn't get it to the channel, and that was a lot of fun. So that's something I would love to consider maybe for actual players if I can find a scenario that will kind of fit with the feel of the channel. But yeah, Terminator would be really cool, actually. I was concerned it might be a bit crunchy. Because I presume it's similar to Slay Industries, which is also Nightfall Games.
Yes, it's the 5S.
Again. Have you got anything touching your M key by any chance? You're completely muted. Right.
Wonders of live entertainment.
Have you tried switching it off and on again?
Yeah.
I get this little fever voice telling you mute off, mute on. It's like, I've not even touched anything.
Oh dear.
Is the
What about you,
battery
Mr.
going?
Cat?
Oh, well, for myself, yeah. I wrote a game a long time ago for a friend of mine who's got a let's call it an adult toys business. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. called
Transformers. Yay!
About magical individuals in a very, very knockoff universe that you might have wanted to avoid just recently after certain allegations. Well, after certain things that the author has said. But yeah, Spellends has been now just amalgamated into the next game I'm doing, Myth Stakes. So that's the one I'm going to be bringing to the table. Never got to run it as an individual thingy though.
We all need individual thingies once in a while.
Well, yeah.
Is there anything published already, like not a Paul Cat production, that you're hoping to either play or run this year?
Just anything else that's not D&D 5th edition, because I've been doing that a lot recently. I'd be up for pretty much anything else, really.
Fair enough. So what you're saying is we need to get you into an actual play that isn't D&D. I mean, that's basically any actual play on this show.
Pretty much, yeah. And if you want me to run a little something, I'm sure I could pull something out of a bag.
Is that a resolution? Should that have gone in the previous section?
Yeah, go on then.
For me, currently owned things, yeah, trophy would be good. Trophy would be good. I think that's kind of, I've been excited about that for so long, and it's sort of like a cross between Powered by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark in terms of its system, and it's basically treasure hunters trying to make their fortunes in a forest, and the forest actively doesn't want them there. So it's an interesting setting. What about you who are watching live in the comments? Apologies, I meant to ask this earlier as well. If there are any actual plays that you really want us to see? Jay, thank you. You commented to Genesis. But what about owned RPGs? What have you got on your shelf that you'd really like to try and play this year? Let us know in the comments down below. Or if you're enjoying the show on a repeat, then please do come and talk to us on Discord. The link is down below in the show notes if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or something like that. Otherwise, yeah, if you're on Twitch or something, then you can still find the Discord link down below. Let us know what you're planning on or hoping to play or run this year. We can see how that goes for next year. The next section is which anticipated role-playing game. So this is conditional on the thing showing up. If it arrives, would you most like to play or to run? Richard says he wants to run Versen Mythic Britain this year. Versen is amazing. I still haven't read Mythic Britain. It's on the shelf along with everything else. But I do love some Versen. So, yeah, let us know how that goes. Of course, if you want to run it for anyone in the Discord as well, or it's an online game, then you'd be very welcome, regardless of whether that's streamed or not. We can certainly make that happen. But in person, I think, is the way forward with Versen most of the time. That said, we had a Versen Christmas game last year, Christmas at Kullibo Farm, which was GM'd by our good friend Yoel, and that was a lot of fun. So check that out. That's on our YouTube. Yeah, anticipated role-playing games to play or run. What have we got coming in the post that if it arrives this year, we'd like to play or at least have someone else run for us?
Ooh, well, I've had an advert today for a game that's going to be coming to Kickstarter at some point in January. A new version of Kobolds Ate My Baby.
Would you like to explain what that game is for anyone who doesn't know?
I think how do they describe it? A beer and pretzels game. Apparently, it's the completely new rules for the same dumb game. It's
what kind of game is that?
It's one of those type of games where you don't take it seriously. You're playing kobolds. You know, if you've played D&D or you've come across kobolds in any other system, you'll probably already know that they're not exactly the smartest or the cleverest or the highest IQ of individuals. And of course, hijinks ensue.
That could be quite fun. I like the sound of that.
Could be quite fun.
Yeah. What about you, Bruce?
Well, hopefully I'm able to hear again. she's not told me off yet. But 2 games I've got, and I'm trying to have a look at the list to remind me. Fight to Survive, which I'm hoping we'll see. I know that's been delayed because of
I hope so.
the art.
So that's James
And
Kerr's role-playing game about. It's kind of like it's the old 80s martial arts movies, isn't it? Basically.
yeah, but mostly I think it feels like the American martial
Yeah.
art movies,
Like
but with
any of those ones
heart.
where you've got the kind of downtrodden, just have to literally fight because where you live is a complete dive and your life is misery, and the only thing you've got left going for you is your ability to, fight back physically.
Yeah, that's one. The other one I'm interested in is They Came From Classified. This is a not published one because they're all 60s spy. I noticed that Jay's mentioned Troubleshooters as his one, and this is similar theme, but this is the story path system. So yeah.
Oh, Jay's mentioned the Avatar game as well. A friend of mine has actually backed that and received it. We've not actually played it yet, but I am actually quite looking forward to that one as well.
That should be good. For me, let me think. So one of the big ones for me is Demon Dog. So Demon Dog, also a Nightfall Games, and it's a Morkborg, Merkborg role-playing game, system role-playing game. So it's that we all know, I think, what kind of games they are. If you're a role player, you've probably played Morkborg by now. Setting's slightly different. It's set in medieval times, and if memory serves me correctly, you died and you were kind of brought back to life as a slave of a demon, and you have to do its bidding, and then maybe you can get your redemption for kind of doing what you're told. That is going to print like any moment now, kind of thing, which I'm really surprised by. That's been a really quick turnaround, and I'm very, very excited by that. And I'm just trying to remind myself what the other thing was because it's fallen out of my brain. I guess Dragonbane, Dark Orb is something that really I need to or want to get to the table when it arrives. And in terms of things that should arrive next year, probably Brindlewood Bay. It's a kind of, I don't know if that really counts because I've had the PDF for it for like 2 years. And the PDF is not that different from the print version. It's a different layout. But it's a game where basically you're a bunch of little old ladies who attend a book club about murder mysteries. And 1 second, I just need to cough. This non-COVID illness thing is just really annoying. Little old ladies, and you live in the kind of sleepy seaside town of Brindlewood Bay, where murders keep happening, and you have to try and work out what's happened. So that's exciting for me. Buttons, thank you for joining us. Resolution for coming year: reconnecting with us. Yay! Games to play that I own. Invisible Sun, amazing. Heart, amazing. Lost Eons, I don't know actually. Coming games, Die role-playing game. Yeah, that's a really good point. Die will be incredible. I'm a little concerned about how complex that game might be to play, but let's find out. It'll be awesome. Demon Dogs, yeah, I agree completely. And Salvage Union is going to be great, but I don't know. It's kind of lost a little bit of luster for me, which I'm really disappointed about. And it's nothing to do with the game. It's nothing to do with the team that are putting it together. Just maybe a little bit of excitement has kind of evaporated.
Have they just left it too long or something?
Because I'm in the same boat as Phil on this one. It's a game I did play the beta version of it, and I enjoyed it. In fact, almost a year ago. But it's taken, for me, I just felt that they've taken too long to develop into it. I know they're getting a lot of feedback and playtesters, and I've been on Discord. I actually
It'll be
completely walked
amazing.
away. Yeah, it will be great, but it's just I want it now sort of thing. But that's waned, and other things are now focusing my attention.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Salvage Union is basically a sort of anime-ish giant robots game, basically. You get to build a mech and go out and do mech stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot simpler than games like Lancer, which admittedly I've not played. But yeah, I think it came out in terms of Kickstarter at the same sort of time as things like Orbital Blues, which is a very different game but has a similar sort of feel to it, at least initially. And Orbital Blues has kind of hit tables. It feels like it's taking a little bit too long, which is a shame. But it'll be amazing when it happens. Right. Next category. And I'm going to keep Bruce on the big screen here for this one. The 2023 resolution for a board or miniatures game to play or run this year.
I'm going to pick, and it hasn't arrived, and it only will arrive till late quarter this year. Zone Wars: The Mutant Year Zero. That back for the Kickstarter. But what I am going to set myself as a challenge, and this will be the resolution, is I want to build a game board for that.
Okay.
Post-apocalyptic game board. That's going to be my challenge.
Are you going to start building that before you've got the minis or after?
Yes, before I get the minis, because they're supposed to be 32 mil. I've got some buildings. I've been watching some guides into it. I've been looking at roads. I'm actually going to try and make it a UK sort of setting, so be getting some templates to do UK roads.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's the one I really got my eye on. And I've got a couple of 3D printed miniatures that look like they could fit the game as well. So if you're on the Discord channel, hopefully I'll start putting them up, images up there.
Looking forward to that. And for anyone who doesn't know this, and I'm sure you do, Bruce, a kind of cheap way to get a lot of the kind of scenery resources is actually to go to model train shops.
Yeah.
So things like, flocking for grass and that sort of stuff, rather than going the route of miniatures, as in the miniatures that we're dealing with. Train hobby shops tend to be a little bit cheaper, so it's something to look at.
Yeah, and I've been watching a lot of their videos as well on Scratch Build terrain and looking at that. Because what I'm interested in is derelict places. I have been watching
Scotland.
a lot of Fallout.
Yeah.
Fallout stuff. But the problem with Fallout is that's not Mutant Year Zero, because nature comes back in Mutant Year Zero.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And Zone Wars is the miniatures game from Free League for Mutant Year Zero, which is set in a sort of post-apocalyptic future, and your factions are humans and robots and anthropomorphized.
You can play a duck, basically. That's what you just want to say. You can play a duck.
Yeah, you play a duck. That'll do.
Oh dear.
And they're all fighting
anthropomorphic duck.
Yes. What about you, Paul? Are you into miniatures and board games and that sort of stuff?
Yes, we're going to get a Necromunda campaign up and running.
Nice.
Got my hands on a few of the old 1995 miniatures that are going to be special characters in that. Plus, as far as board games is concerned, we backed Damnation, the Gothic game, on Kickstarter quite some time ago. Apparently, that's getting closer to hitting the front door.
That was a glorious Kickstarter campaign as well.
As I say, a big fan of the original one from, I think it was 1991. It had a lot of Monty Python style humor in it, and I'm hoping that's going to be carrying across as well. And my wife has actually backed a game called Flamecraft. We've played that a couple of times so far. It's this really cute game about dragons.
Dragons and coffee shops.
Yeah, I can't understate just how cute this game is. It is ridiculously adorable. Oh, I'm being handed the
I
box.
think that-
Hang on, let me embiggen you.
There we go.
yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, we're
Yes,
back to the
that's
big
so
silly
cool.
version. So instead of it having like cardboard tokens and little meeples for the dragons, we've got little minis of the dragons themselves, and all the little cardboard tokens have been replaced with metal coins, which actually feel substantial, and little wooden thingies, little wooden meeple bits for the
wooden thingies, my favourite.
yes, little wooden thingies. There we go. So yes, instead of a cardboard thingy, we've got.
I love how when you start talking about things, your wonderful wife brings some things to you. You need to start talking about like bacon sandwiches and
Yes, what I'm also really looking forward to is a whiskey and coke. Yay! No, not two of them, just one of them.
3 of them.
I'm getting a hand signal with 2, but I might have to wait for that.
Unless it's Roman numerals, it could be 5.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah, not with my alcohol tolerances, no.
Amazing. I suppose I should talk about the things that we're looking forward to. We've got ISS Vanguard. That's something that I'm very excited about, by the creators of Awakened Realms, so creators of things like Nemesis and Tainted Grail. So that's a sort of space exploration. You're on a giant spaceship, which is the ISS Vanguard, and then you go down on planets, and then you do things, and you come back up, and half of you have died, and then you keep going. It's like a kind of big legacy game. So that's something that I really want to actually start playing. We're probably not going to go back to Pandemic Season 2 because it's kind of crap.
Plus a bit on the nose at this point as well, isn't it?
Damn cough.
A bit on the nose, he says, as you coughing your lungs up.
No, it's not even that. So I haven't got COVID or anything, but yeah, just a tickle, just here. It's really irritating.
Yeah, no, exactly the one you mean there.
I had a sore throat for about a week. It's very, very frustrating. Yeah, Jay, and we all got almost the fill level. There were a couple of things we didn't add to that. What's that you got, Paul?
Oh, my wife has just handed me another one that recently just arrived from the Kickstarter mines.
Chamber of Wonders.
It's called Chamber of Wonders. The idea is, in true British fashion, you are stealing things from around the world in order to have a nice museum.
Sounds good. We have the board game museum, which we still haven't played, which we've got all of. Yeah, ISS Vanguard is the main one. We're abandoning Pandemic Season 2, but we do have Season 0, which we've had for ages. I'd like to play that. I really want to get back to Champions of Midgard, which is my favourite worker placement game. It's a lot of fun. But the big one is it's supposed to arrive. It's being dispatched. The core box set of this is being dispatched at the end of January. Is Judgment from Creaturecaster. Judgment Eternal Champions.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Just a really awesome miniature skirmish game. They've taken away a lot of the requirements for things like tame measures and stuff by doing it all on a hex grid. Possibly a bad decision depending on my how I feel on the day, but we backed it at the resin level. So rather than having a whole load of PVC pre-assembled miniatures, we're going to have 10,000 tiny bits of resin to clean up and glue together. But my other half, who's going to join in, insists that that's the fun bit. So, I mean, resin assembly is quite good, and Creaturecaster models are incredible. But yeah, that'll be fun. If it arrives. The final section is, what are we going to resolve for? Mohammed says waiting for the Witcher board game. Is that the Witcher? Oh God, what was it called? Old something.
The one with the silly amount of miniatures.
Yeah, we backed it as well.
Oh, wish I'd had the money for it, but there's a lot of minis on that. The Kickstarter exclusive one with the horse on top of the shed as well. That was a nice touch.
Yeah. We backed it purely because the other half wants to run Witcher RPG and wanted models to use with it if we end up using models for it. But yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Yeah, JM, it's worth following up. You were saying you haven't received your Avatar shipping notice. If everyone else you know's backed it, then it's probably worth just chasing. No, you didn't back it at the Phil level because Phil didn't back it.
But if you had backed it, he's backed it at the Phil level.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Phil level for Avatar role-playing game is nothing at all. The final category is what are we going to resolve to do for the community, the role-playing community. Now, I want to make it really clear that this is not us committing to the Dark Orb as in, the stream. This is, and I'll start with you, Paul. What is your resolution for 2023 for what you will do for your role-playing community? So that's anyone that you play with in person, anyone you play with online. Yeah, that includes the Dark Orb. It includes any other Discord groups you're on. Is there anything that you want to commit to that you think, yeah, I'm going to do that this year?
Right. Well, as I'm sure you're already aware, because I will have bimbled on about it a fair amount of time now, I've got myself a 3D printer. So I do want to make sure that anybody who wants a miniature for their own personal character gets one.
Anyone?
For a reasonable price, of course. I mean, when we finished the campaign just before Christmas there, what I made sure was that all the players who had been playing in my particular Weird Space campaign got a little miniature that represented their particular character. I'm backing a few Patreons for that sort of thing with that do monthly miniatures. So yeah, that just continuing to be awesome.
Well, that's not really a resolution because you have to die to stop doing that.
Yeah, fair point.
What about you, Mr. Bruce?
Oh, challenging one. I think certainly getting out more in the community, running actual plays once a quarter. I think try run a game actual play once a quarter would be a good idea, and certainly around the local communities. And that I'm more thinking get back with Edinburgh into gamers, at least running games as well for them, or making sure I'm turning up a lot more because last sort of quarter I've not been with them so much. Nothing because of them. I've just been finding time challenging, but this year get back to it because I have to say there's usually quite a nice little odd selection, and I think that's where Fight to Survive will certainly get a nice little group in there. And at conventions, I'm thinking just offering to run games now more than just turning up as a player.
I think that sounds great. I think that's very reasonable as well and attainable. Both of those goals are. Excuse me. For this year, yeah, something similar. Definitely want to run more games, run more actual plays. I want to run a bit more in person as well, both in the physical sense and in the role-playing game sense. I need to, get the weight down. Let's face it. Actually, I'm not going to run anywhere. Cycling, maybe. But I think the other thing is that I do need to pull together, if we can get enough people to join us, is a physical Orbtoberfest in October. So that's something I'd like to do. I have an idea of a venue, and yeah, if we can get 15 to 20 people to play role-playing games in person in Nottingham, in the UK, I think that would be rocking. So, yeah, I'm going to make sure that that's a possibility, and that if we've got enough interest in our little community, that it will go ahead. And so that's, I think, the big one for me. And of course, kind of maintaining the Dark Orb and doing our best to continue what we've started and try and put some more hours in this year, get a few more things up on the stream, try and do more regular content.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Plus, with October being, so many months away, might actually give me enough time to get things booked in.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the moment it's looking like the second Saturday in October, and that'll be a one-day event. Although anyone that happens to hang around for 2 days, we'll do something on the Sunday as well. Don't know what. It won't be in the same venue, but the venue that I've got in mind is right in the middle of town, very close to a really great craft ale place as well. And yeah, it's just nice. It's relatively low cost, and the owner's lovely, and it'll just be fun. There's enough space for probably 4 or 5 tables. So yeah, small but imperfectly formed. So let us know in the comments whether or not that sounds like something that would be fun for you if you're in the UK, especially. You don't have to be in the UK. If you want to travel, that would be great. But yeah, we'll maybe do that. I'll share more details of that in our Discord as and when they become available. And what have we got in the comments? So Jay says, I thought Hero Forge was quite expensive, but their subscription is awesome value for money if you have a printer. Yeah, there's a few other subscription companies that are really great as well. Paul, you can remember them better than I can.
Oh yeah, I could rattle off a bunch of my favourites. Things like Artisan Guild, that's pretty good. There's ZBS Miniatures as well. Highland Miniatures, they're pretty good. They're fairly high up on my list as well. Black Crag, if you're interested in your 40k style orcs.
Yeah,
Those
some
are
really
definitely some
great stuff
favourites
out
there.
there. Yeah. There are a couple more that are on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think what they are, because we bought a resin printer and I still haven't unboxed it. Had it for about a year now.
Well, you have moved house.
It was state of the art when we bought it. It was the Anycubic Photon. Is it the S? The DLP projection one.
You got a DLP printer?
Yeah, and it only does like the bed's like tiny. It's about sort of that big.
Doesn't
So
matter.
it's really only
DLP's
for
got
printing miniatures.
Yeah, the amount of quality you can get out of a DLP is supposed to be far outpacing what I've got, which is a
Maybe
Elegoo
at the
Saturn.
time, but I think probably by this point yours is probably auto upgraded to a better version than mine. Luke Studios, that's one I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Mohammed, who is not in the UK, says trying to introduce more local players to other TTRPG games than D&D. Yeah, like any other role-playing game than D&D. Maybe not Cult immediately though.
It's a bit Simbaran, maybe.
Yeah.
Might have mentioned that one once or twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Simbaran is my favourite, as everyone probably knows. That's probably it for us, isn't it? We do. I go boom and boom. We have rattled through some exciting New Year's resolutions, and hopefully that's been an interesting show. Really sorry that my voice has been all over the place today, and that Bruce has had technical challenges and that Paul was late. But other than that, it was a hugely successful show. Thank you so much for joining. We were talking in Discord about bringing back our little Friday after parties that we used to do. That's not going to happen today, but I can imagine that maybe after the next show, we might do a little Friday night after party on Twitch. And that's where we just get together and just talk about anything geeky. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's all this news about things like The Witcher, and that's probably where we would talk about the news about D&D's OGL as well, because I don't want to put like an official stance on what we think, but it's still an interesting conversation. Doesn't really affect most of us because most of us don't play D&D games, so it doesn't really matter. So that makes it easier for us to talk about impartially. But yeah, 2023 is going to be an interesting year, and I think it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a more productive and maybe a slightly better one than 2022 was. But of course, what with 2022 being the first year without COVID, I think we all pretty much got it. So that didn't help. Yeah. So if anyone wants to find either of you, Paul, where can people find you and your wares?
If you have a search for Weird Space RPG on Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Lulu, there's a bunch of different places you can find me on.
Dilute it all. But are you getting a print on demand coming as well?
It's already there. It's now up and running on Drive-Thru RPG. If you buy the book, it comes with a free PDF as well as. It's also on Amazon. I managed to appease the print-on-demand gods and get it up on there as well. So
and for anyone who doesn't know, do you want to give us like a 2-line summary of what the hell Weird Space RPG is?
Think Red Dwarf, but in a far more populated universe.
If anyone doesn't know Red Dwarf?
Think Rick and Morty, but English.
That'll do. Yep, that'll do perfectly. So yeah, zany science fiction, British humour science fiction role-playing game set in space. Bruce, what about your good self? How can people find you if they want to?
Probably loitering in the streets of Edinburgh, probably.
that's only at night.
But mostly you'll probably find me on the Discord or just kicking about. But yeah, in the Edinburgh community, if you haven't seen me at the Edinburgh Indie Gamers, if we're doing one of our, I think it's once a month face-to-face to do, you might see me in there if they still got the same places. Or you might actually catch me at some of the conventions coming up, offering games to run. The first
What's the next one you're at?
The next one I'm actually at is in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going down to Hunstanton for the contingency. So
Amazing
I've already got about 6 games on offer, and people are already signing up for them. So yeah, so it's about pretty much 5 days of role playing.
They basically hire out an entire caravan park and just turn it into a role-playing game convention. It's amazing.
It's great. It's actually really good.
And you can find me, and actually you can find all of us, as Bruce already said, on the Dark Orb Discord. We're on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. So hope you've enjoyed the show. Again, apologies for slight technical issues throughout the show. But I hope you've had fun. And fingers crossed and toes that we can actually pull off some of these crazy resolutions that we've put ourselves forward for this year. And I guess the fruits of our labour should hopefully be on this channel, if not elsewhere. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining. Hope you had a great new year and a great holidays. Thank you, Buttons. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Mohammed. And who else have we got? Khetil. And is that a lot? Mr. Richard, Christo as well. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you very soon. And until that time, because mine always are terrible, I hope your dice rolls are way better than mine. Thank you very much, everyone. And take care of yourselves. Good night.